Hello, UK Crime Book Club. I'm showing Guy Hale my mug. Although the voices aren't real, they've got some pretty good ideas. One of my friends sent it to me, and it's one of my favourites. I use it quite a lot. So let's. I'm so excited to talk about these books. I've just laughed so much and been shocked so much. Guy, introduce yourself. I'm talking about the books before we've even said hello. Hello.
Hi, well, my name's Guy Hale. I'm extremely old, and I've retired from work, and I've taken up writing, which was my first love many years ago. But I thought best not to try and make a living from writing because it's fairly precarious. So I made myself financially secure before I started writing. I live in Worcestershire. That helps.
I am terrible with geography. Where in the country is Worcestershire?
Well, if you go down from Manchester about 90 miles, go past Birmingham, and where it becomes lovely and green, that's Worcestershire, to the south of Birmingham. So, edge of the Cotswolds where we are. So,
and you have a small holding.
That's a bit personal.
And that's just set the tone for the hour.
Well, it used to be a farm. It's now just a house.
So no animals or anything. I'm fascinated by farms and tractors.
One son. That's as close as I get to wildlife. Yeah.
Fair enough.
We've got 2 cats. Does that count?
A little bit, yeah.
But no,
yes,
nothing that we want to kill to eat. We're not like that here. So.
No, that is absolutely fair enough. Absolutely. I don't think I think I'd be more likely to be vegetarian than I would be to be able to.
I quite fancy a couple of donkeys, actually. They're quite nice donkeys. I don't know what. I think I'll call one Stephen and the other King. So, yeah.
When we used to go to Southport Beach years ago, there was a donkey every year called Oscar. Might not have been the same donkey. Maybe it was just the same, reins with the name on. But yeah, I loved that donkey. So get 3 and call one Oscar.
Okay, will do.
I've not got room for one here.
Probably just as well. You've got 4 children, haven't you?
Keeps us busy, yeah.
Yeah, that would keep you busy. Yeah.
Right, let's introduce Jimmy Wayne. Let's talk about the books. There's just so much to discuss.
Well, I've had to live with him for 2 years now, so
I don't think that's such a bad thing. I've lived with him for a couple of weeks, going back over the books this week. Obviously, because last week the internet just didn't happen. The internet just went. I had none for about 3 days. It was very, very strange.
You think the internet's a book critic?
I don't even know what to say to that.
Hopefully the internet hasn't read it.
So go on, talk about Killing Me Softly first. Oh, let's remind everybody that we've got a competition. So I've been sharing it in the group this week, but you're offering Killing Me Softly and Blood on the Tracks signed paperbacks with the CD, and we'll talk about Mike Zito as well, and Kid Anderson, talk about everyone and talk about the record company. But let's start with the prize first. So you're going to sign them, UK only for tonight, and send them on to the best question askers.
Absolutely. I'll sign them. I'll sign the record as well. I'll even pay the postage. So what more can you say?
I know. Hi, Laura. I know that Laura Hamilton, is it Laura that said that she'd read the book? I've been talking to somebody on Facebook today and they'd read book 1 and really enjoyed it and couldn't wait for the interview after seeing our promo last week. So Killing Me Softly came out in May.
It did.
You wrote it during lockdown?
Yeah, I kind of wrote it in the previous 8 months. I took 6 months to write it and then 2 months with the publishers to do a couple of edits and a final proof. Yeah, so I try and write a book in 6 months. What, writing books? Yeah, I really enjoy it, actually. I've got a bit of a problem because I've got 16 novels all stared up, ready to go, which is a bit of a problem because
16
plotted out, ready to go. And at my age, I've got to get moving or I'll be dead before I've written them. So
really not old.
Yeah. Well, you try to. I try to write a book every 6 months, because I am retired now, and I just work
Which
it round.
surprised me when you said that. I didn't realise that you'd retired.
Yeah, I sold my business 4.5 years ago and retired. But retirement for me is a bit different because I started a record label in Texas and then started another one over here. And then I started writing about 18 months ago. And I'm on the 3rd book now. So, yeah, so I've got a low boredom threshold, Sam.
Well, that's one way of doing something with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Keeps me out of trouble. I ride my bike, I go in the gym, and then the wife and I go out for meals and things. And all the other time I just write now. So saves her putting a tag on me to wonder where I am. So
because you're at the end of the garden.
I'm at the top of the hill. Yeah, she keeps an eye on me with a shotgun. Just make sure I don't come out. So
that would have come in handy for the research.
Yeah, I was perfect for the research. Yeah, it's all based on all the serial killing is based on my wife's exploits, which is why we can never get divorced. So,
and why you live out in the middle of nowhere, just the two of you.
Exactly, yeah. Bit of land to bury the bodies on. Perfect.
Why not? Yeah, absolutely. Some really good rose bushes.
Well, that'd be a bit painful, wouldn't it? Digging all those spikes and stuff. No, I don't think I like that. That's why I did it in Arizona. There's no bushes. You just smooth the sand and flip them down. I've been to Arizona. I know what it's like. So
we've already got quite a lot of questions coming in. People really want to win these signed copies, and you should, because they are brilliant. I've done nothing but laugh and be surprised.
Me too. I'm always surprised by what I write. I think, is that really in my head? God, what's wrong with me?
Do you do that? Do you look back over things and think, surely I didn't write that? That's really good. That whole self-deprecating author thing.
I write it and I just think, what's wrong with you? Yeah. There's something not right up there. But I don't, I do like some of the really dark stuff. And you'd have to say with the body count in my book, it's dark. But I tend to see the humour in everything. And, even as torturing to death, like Ma Lanton does in book 2, it's a funny torturing to death. So,
It is, but at the same time, some of it's really, really creepy when you think about who's watching the torturing and different things that are happening. You think, okay, but at the same time, you're laughing. You can't not. Yeah. And then you feel kind of darker for laughing, but it's funny.
It's a self-defense mechanism, the laughter, isn't it? Because we're dealing with some... Jimmy Wayne's got that classic thing. He accidentally murdered his girlfriend. Well, anybody can do that, can't they? And what does he do with it?
No wonder your wife's aiming a shotgun at you up the hill.
Well, 30 years in, and she's not dead yet, so it's a good sign.
And neither are you, so
cheers
to that.
If she dies next week after this interview, I'm in real trouble, aren't I? The police have already got the evidence. No, he's a good guy. That's the whole point. Jimmy is a good guy, and overwhelmingly the reviews have been, why am I rooting for a serial killer? And the reason is, he's a decent person. He's just a serial killer by accident. Yeah, and
Wendy was an accident, and this isn't a spoiler because this is we're right in the thick of it right at the beginning.
Yeah.
So, do you want to explain how Wendy dies? Because you can bet every bit of money in your wallet that I am not telling this story live on camera.
Okay, I'll tell it then. I'm assuming that people of the UK Crime Book Club are well into this kind of thing anyway. So we're talking about autoerotic sex, and never engage in autoerotic sex if you've been drinking, I'm told. And Jimmy had just tied Wendy up and by the neck and the wrists, and he was hanging her from the clothes rail in the wardrobe, and they were having sex. And when Jimmy had finished his business, he was so drunk he passed out. And the last thing he remembers is Wendy struggling and turning a little blue as she hung from the wardrobe. He'd neglected to pull her down first. So when he wakes up in the morning, Wendy's hanging dead from the wardrobe, which is unfortunate end to a lovely night.
It is unfortunate because he really loves Wendy. And he really didn't mean her any harm, and it was all her idea, and it all went wrong.
Yes, she was the progenitor of the sexual act, and he just went along with it. But when he wakes up, he actually sees this song on his bedside, and he reads it. It's the best song he's ever written. And he realizes it's about Wendy, because she's standing there with a pretty vacant, well, hanging there with a fairly vacant stare, as you would if you've been hung. And he realizes the song he's written subconsciously about her. And he thinks, well, I could phone the police and dob myself in, or I could use this opportunity to make something good out of something bad and sing this song. So he decides to go and bury her in the desert at a place he calls the Song Cemetery. It's a little outcrop of rock in a horseshoe-shaped valley where he used to go and sing, because when he stands on the crop of rock, the valley is surrounding him. It seems like a huge arena. So he'd go there and try and sing songs, but everything he wrote was rubbish. So he called it the Song Cemetery in the end. So he buried her at the Song Cemetery. And she, as you know, guided him there because she started haunting him fairly quickly, but in a positive way, not in a negative way.
She was quite happy to be buried there in a place that meant a lot to both of them.
Yeah, and the thing is, she's not confined there. She now has the perfect air pass. She can travel anywhere free of charge. And there's another world out there which she discovers, and she alludes to throughout the book. But we're never sure whether Jimmy's actually imagining her or whether she's really a ghost, because nobody else sees her.
True.
So I'll leave that.
But no, I'm debating whether it'd be a spoiler, and it isn't. Kid actually feels her presence in the second book. He just is aware that she's kind of around.
Yeah, Kid's quite a spiritual person, and John Ardeel feels her presence. He knows when she's there, and he can hear her talking. But is he picking that up from Wendy, or is he picking that up from Jimmy? Is it Jimmy's thoughts he's reading? Because Jimmy's imagining what she's saying. So I never explain it because I haven't got a clue myself.
Good. So. But I think that's a good thing, because everybody that reads it, other people might not think that I think the same as them. I think that's the really nice thing. It's open to interpretation based on who you are and how you feel about it.
Yeah.
And the way that you invest in the story.
Yeah, the basic question of the story is, what would you do for fame? How far would you go? Where would you draw the line? And if you're drawing the line quite a long way down the moral scale, how do you justify it? So Jimmy justifies it by just killing people he sees as bad people, gangsters, murderers.
And this is why we love him. This is why you can't... You can look at Jimmy and think, you're a really decent guy, but you're really not a decent guy because you're killing people. But actually, the people that you're killing have been bringing misery to other people. Yeah. Misery is kind of underselling it a little bit, isn't it? But that's a really nice thing. It's a clever idea that you've touched on.
Yeah. I was going to say it was kind of the Harold Shipman of the music world, but Harold Shipman killed good people, so we can't really draw that analogy, can we? So.
No, we can't. Absolutely not, no. Foot down on that one, no. He was just a bad guy.
Yeah, he was evil. So
yeah.
I'm trying to think who you could compare him to, and there is no real comparison. The closest you get is Dexter.
Not in the real world.
Dexter, maybe.
Haven't actually seen it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Dexter is a serial killer who only kills serial killers. So it should make it quite tricky to find your next victim, I'd imagine, but maybe not.
Now I really want to watch it. It was always on my to-do list, but things get pushed further and further down, don't they? But that's really interesting.
Yeah, especially if you've got 4 kids, yeah.
You're insinuating I need something else to do, Guy.
I just how I've had 1, and that was busy enough. How you cope with 4, God knows. So
yeah, it's fine. 1, 4, it's all the same. We've got so many questions. I'm going to dive into some of them. Somebody has asked, how do you decide the best locations with the music? And whoever this is, I'll see if I can see who said it. They don't know just how good a question that is, because everything is interconnected with the music in some way.
Right. Okay. So when you say, well, all the locations are, they're actually in Nevada, in the area. So it's all the songs are related to the murders or to moments in his life or people he knows and loves. So they're songs. As I wrote the book, the songs came out of Jimmy's personal experience. So I wrote that song. Like Lonely Old Lady is all about Sammy, even though she wasn't really a lonely old lady.
I loved Sammy.
She's great, isn't
Loved
she?
Sammy.
Broke my heart killing her, but she needed to
You
go.
broke mine as well.
I know.
I can understand why you did it and all the emotion that it added and the friendship and the importance of it. But yeah, I didn't like you then.
Yeah. Well, the good news is if this lot ever takes off, there's a prequel with Sammy. So
that is exciting.
That's one of the 16.
Absolutely brilliant. I'm thrilled to hear that because there's so much you could do with so many of the characters. You could literally have a backstory for all of them. You could have prequels upon prequels.
Yeah, the one thing, she's probably one of the few characters that isn't actually based on an actual person, because a lot of the people in the blues rock world in America know exactly who I'm talking about with each character. They're all based on someone.
It did make me laugh that the two characters that technically one's not quite a character, two characters called Samantha, none of whom are based on me, before anybody makes any jokes about what I'm about to say. You killed Sammy, and the other one's a sat-nav.
Yes. Yeah.
I was telling my
that was
husband
based on
earlier
you,
on.
that one. Yeah, that was based on you.
So go on, tell everyone who the other Samantha is in book 2. I just roared laughing at what you called her.
That will be the vaguely pornographic voice on the sat-nav, wouldn't it? Porn star sat-nav. It's a real
Porn
thing.
star sat-nav.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
That cannot be a real thing.
I assure you, it's a real thing. I was in America with I better not name him because it's a pornographic sat-nav. But I was in America on tour with a musician friend of mine, and he'd bought this. And the next turn's coming up. You've got it. Very funny for the first 50 miles. Pretty tedious after 200. So
I can imagine that being tedious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read a bit out to my husband, and he was just like, "Jesus, okay."
Yeah, I guess you had to be there.
Well, they're all going to be, because there's not a person here now who's not going to be thinking, right, we need to read this book. It's just so funny. There's more to it than the humour, but the amount of things that just make you just kind of nearly choke on your drink while you're reading.
Well, that was the idea, to distract people from my terrible prose.
Somebody has asked, did you have anyone famous on your record label? Now, that's kind of what's famous to you could be
Tito
maybe
Jackson.
not to other people.
Tito Jackson.
Okay. I'd say that's somebody who's fairly well known. Yeah, just a smidge.
He's on our label. We're just about to sign Aswad.
I used to love Aswad.
Oh, well, stick around, kid. I'll get you backstage. So.
I'll hold you to it. I'll come and sing. Not actually down a microphone. Nobody needs to hear what comes out of my mouth when I try to sing.
I think you'd have a great voice, to be fair.
No.
Are you one of those voices when you sing all the rats start throwing themselves on the traps? Is that one of those voices?
Yeah.
All the notes, but not in the right order. Yeah.
Oh, none of the notes. None of the notes and can't remember the words. No, terrible.
Like the early auditions on X Factor. I love those.
Oh, see, now we're going to disagree on that, because I thought it was mean. Just pulling people onto TV to embarrass them. No,
I'm afraid I thought it was hilarious.
But I don't like stuff like You've Been Framed either. It got too mean.
No. Yeah. Well, television is a mean, it's the word I'm actually looking for. It's got meaners. It's exploitation, isn't it? Now, television, basically. I mean, I hate what the Tories stand for, but I'm actually starting to feel sorry for Liz Truss now. I think she's on the verge of a breakdown. I think we just need to keep her out of the limelight and get her some counselling because she's in trouble.
I've seen a lot of tweets saying the same thing all day today.
Yeah, it's quite painful to watch now. She's made a terrible mistake. Her career's over, and at the end of the day, we've all made mistakes, but we don't make them in such a public arena, and it's quite painful to watch now. I've stopped watching it. I just can't bear it. So,
I can imagine.
I hate every policy she stands for, but I just can't bear watching it. She's a human being, apparently, and it's just not nice to watch.
It's never nice to watch somebody just fall apart, especially on TV.
No.
Somebody has asked, is your bike an e-bike? Me and my neighbours have been discussing. So I can't see who any of these questions are coming from. I'm really sorry that I'm not getting any names for you.
Yeah, I don't worry about that. I'll talk to anybody. I have a confession. I have 8 push bikes, 7 of which are not e-bikes and 1 of which is an e-bike. The e-bike is a Specialized Chronos, and it's an out-and-out race bike, but with a nice little motor. So if you're doing a long day in windy conditions, if you're riding 100 miles, it's just nice to have that little bit of extra help. Or if you're doing a really hilly ride through the Cotswolds, I'm quite happy up to about 60 miles on my normal bikes, but when I'm going 100 plus, it's nice just to have the e-bike as a little bit of an extra boost. You just switch it on when you need it. So, and they are very good.
Are you powering this up by pedaling?
Yeah, with the kind of the Chronos, it's only a pedal assist. So I can't believe we're talking about cycling. You've got 3 settings, and the one setting, it gives you 40% of what you put in. So if you, on the second setting, it puts 60% of what you put in, and on the maximum setting, if you put in 200 watts, it matches it with another 200 watts, but you still have to work. But it does on a longer ride. If I usually have it off for the first 50 miles on a long ride, and then just start putting it on when I start to feel the need for it. So, but I do ride a lot. So, but yeah, it's great. It's really good. It's meant I'm doing 100-mile rides regularly again. So, and if somebody's not a regular rider and they want to try and get fit, I would recommend people getting an e-bike, especially around Manchester and those hilly areas, because it's a real tough place to learn to ride, up north, because you get the winds and you get the hills. And it's tough around here because we've got the Cotswolds and the Lenches. So, yeah, if you've got hills, they're a good idea. They really are. You're still working hard. You can work as hard as you like, but when you need that bit of help, it's there. Just like the government.
But if you're like me, you'd probably fall off a lot. Better just to walk.
Yeah, well, don't drink and ride, clearly. Is that what you're saying?
No, just in general. I have no coordination whatsoever. None.
Oh, really?
Yeah, terrible. We talked a little bit about it could be my sinuses playing with my ears, throwing me off balance.
Oh, yeah, that'd do it. Yeah, definitely.
Who knows? I just don't think I should ever get on a bike. It's fine. Sounds like you do enough for both of us, so I'm good with that.
Yeah, I think I'm doing enough for both of us, Sam.
Yeah.
I'll put you down for half my miles if that helps.
Laura, it was Laura that was talking to earlier today about the book. And she said it was a great tonic, dark and funny, just what I needed after plodding through David Copperfield. Honestly, we've just done nothing but laugh. It's so funny.
Thanks, Laura.
There's light humour, there's dark humour. It's not just funny, though. There's so much more to it. Laura says, a book set in Nevada, and it's a death penalty state. If you're on death row, what would you have as your last meal? You're allowed a starter, main, pudding, and drink. How perfect for this is that question? Well done, Laura.
That's a perfect question, but if you've eaten in America, well, the food's terrible, in my opinion. I don't like fast food anyway, so that's not going to help me because there's a lot of fast food there. Can I bring in food
anything
from
you
Europe?
want? Anything you want. It's your last meal, so you can have anything from anywhere. It can be moon dust. It's your last meal.
Well, that'd be a bit gritty, wouldn't it?
It would.
I think I'd start with scallops. I'd start with scallops.
Okay.
Then I'd go for moule mariniere with some frites in the sauce, and I'd probably end up with what would I have for dessert? Something. I'd probably have a creme brulee, a raspberry creme brulee.
Oh, we almost had one thing that we both liked then, and then you added raspberry to it.
Oh, really?
Not a thing on your menu that I'd eat. What are you drinking with it?
Last night, I think a really good Provençal rosé.
Okay, I'll join you in a rosé, but the rest of it you're eating on your own.
Okay. What would you have?
Not a clue. I'm the pickiest person ever. I have a really weird diet. I don't know.
Can I reconsider that?
You can.
Because if they're going to execute me, I want to make it as messy as possible. So I shall have the hottest chili I can. And when they electrocute me, they can tidy up the mess afterwards. So there you go.
See, there's the dark humour.
Revenge is mine.
Felt really sorry for Jimmy and Wendy romance-wise. That's Laura as well. Yeah. Oh.
It's always tough, a relationship when one of you's dead.
Absolutely.
It does make it kind of tricky, doesn't it? But you don't need to take any precautions. That's the upside.
But the downside to that is there's nothing to take precautions with.
Well, did you not notice they could cuddle and kiss? Did you not notice that?
I did. Towards the end, it seemed like she's getting stronger and her presence is more felt.
Yeah. She's the strongest character in the book, so I think.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I like that. Yeah. I'm going off on different characters now in my head.
Carry on.
Somebody's asked, why did you decide on Nevada for the story?
Simple reason for that is Mike Zito, who's my business partner in the music business, and he's a very famous guy in the States in the blues rock world, and quite big in Germany and Italy and France in the blues world. And we were sitting in a bar in LA in 2019, and he said, because he used to work in a place very much like the Riviera in Nevada. It's based on an actual place. I can't tell you the real place because I'll be sued. But it's based on a real place on a real town. And Mike was the cabaret. Mike was Jimmy Wayne. And he used to go there for 6 months of the year when he started in his career, because that's the only place he could get regular work and make money. And he dreamed one night that he killed somebody and there was a song on the side of his table. That was his dream. And he told it to me. I said, Mike, that's not just a book. That's 2 trilogies. I could just see all the characters and the full story from then. I said, do you mind if I write that? He said, well, I can't write books. You write it. I said, I'm going to. And I'd actually got another trilogy started and I dropped it and did this one instead. So,
well, I'm glad you did. Right, let's see. I don't tend to touch books, but I put this where I could see it. So this is one of the prizes on offer tonight. Not this one. This one's mine. You very kindly sent it to me, and yeah, it's brilliant. So Killing Me Softly, I can't read it. I can't see the words. I can read backwards normally, but I can't see the words because of the light. So the music of Jimmy Wayne and the Second Chance, Killing Me Softly, recorded by Mike Zito featuring Kid Anderson, inspired by the writings of Guy Hale. I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah, well, I just wrote all the songs, and then Mike and I sat down together and developed the songs, and then Mike put his own touches on them. I mean, I sang them all as I heard them to Mike, and he said, yeah, I like that. That's rubbish. So some of my stuff got in there, but it's all my words. But Mike's a genius, and Kid's a genius, and we got Kid to come in and put his own touch on it, because it goes between dark country, Americana, blues, and a bit of rock, doesn't it? It just... it's hard to, in the States it's starting to get some good airplay now, and they're struggling to pigeonhole it. So
that's always a good thing, I think, but I know most marketers wouldn't agree.
Yeah, if you're going to get your book picked up by Netflix, you better give them a soundtrack to go with it. It gives you an edge.
I would watch this on repeat.
I've got to be honest, I'd watch it too, but just to see what happens.
Would you want creative control over it if it was...
Not a chance. I just want the money and bugger off. So
fair enough. It seems to be quite a divide between authors. Either they wouldn't want somebody to ruin what they've done, or they would literally say, do you know what, you take that, you do your thing with it, I'll stick to my thing.
The trouble is, television, when they buy something, and I've had some experience of this, when they buy something, they own it, and they'll do what they want to do. And if you get involved in trying to argue with them, you'll never win, and you'll drive yourself mad. So take an executive producer credit, which means when they're rewriting some of the books to form each episode, they'll say, oh, we need an extra character here. Can you give us a character to do this? So you just write that character and they pay you generously for it. But yeah, don't get involved in it because they're big money men. They know what they're doing. And the writer, unless you're just doing those helpful bits, you're just going to get in the way. And why would you want to be tied up on set or over there for months on end when you can just get on writing the next book? You know,
I suppose
that's what Michael Keneally does with Bosch. Michael Keneally takes the executive producer role with Bosch, and he just, if they want something extra writing for an episode, because they'll just form episodes out of chunks of each book, and then they might need a bit of a scene writing here and there. So that's what he does as executive. He'll write that extra scene for them or give a guideline for some of their writers to do on his behalf. Takes a nice big fat check for it, but he's off writing other books as well. So, but trying to beat Hollywood.
I wonder what the difference was, and now I know.
Yeah. We've been there with the music, and you can't argue with Hollywood or the big labels. Don't bother.
Somebody's given us their last meal: cottage pie and syrup pudding with custard.
Syrup pudding. What kind of syrup is that? Treacle or what kind of syrup? We need to know.
Good question. Somebody said, I'm absolutely loving the way your mind works. Hottest chili to clean up the mess. I think people are going to start thinking I'm weird. Depends who said that. And I genuinely can't see who the I'm only getting 4 comments on my Facebook feed, so I've no idea.
No, I've got Donna Moffat showing up, but that's the Love Bosch. Yeah, that's the only one I can see that's named.
One of Donna's questions was, have you had to stop writing because you were making yourself laugh too much? That's a good question.
Do you know what? No, I just chuckle. I tend to laugh after I've written it, because what I do is at the end of each writing, so like today I managed to bang out 2,000 words today, and I didn't laugh once while I was writing it, but then when I read it back, I was laughing, chuckling away. I thought, yeah, that's good. But the saddest part is I wrote this scene where, I don't want to give too much away in the third book, but there's an ex-nuclear power station where a Parisian gangster, Pierre Soubriquet, is that his real name, is storing some of his hidden paintings, and it's run by a bunch of Geordies who worked for EDF at one time, who were decommissioning the power station. And the one Geordie is known as Thrust Starbanger, because they're using, there's a theme coming back here, they're using the power station for some of the porn videos that they're making and selling to that market. And there are a couple of scenes in there that were absolutely hilarious, but I've realised the whole thing's got to go because it's not moving the story forward. So that's the toughest part. When I write, I kind of like free form. I'm following a plan. I do have a route march. I have a starting point and end point, and I have like 3 or 4 towns I'm going to visit on the way, so to speak. And then I've got most of my characters, but then I'll be traveling on one part of the book, and suddenly this voice and this character will come. That's how Ma came into being. She just started talking. I couldn't shut her up. And John was the same. Oh, I've got to listen to that because that's telling me something I like. And Thrust Starbanger came into my head based on a real person I know. That was his porn star name. I don't know what his dog was called, but Thrust Starbanger. So, and I just went off down that rabbit hole, and it was hilarious. But I thought, I'm going to make that into a little novella as a free giveaway. So recycling, it's so important these days.
I will point out that anyone who's asking questions, just because we can't see who you are now, we will be able to when Guy goes back in through Facebook and looks at the questions. So either that, or if we really struggle and he picks a question and you pick a question, Guy, that we haven't got a name for, I'll put it in the group and somebody will tell me it was their question. So either way. So
what you're saying is if somebody's been really nasty, we can hunt them down and kill them afterwards. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Oh, okay, fine. I'll have to take it on the chin then.
Absolutely. How do you keep coming up with people to kill off? I feel like I've run out of ideas. Or do you people watch to get ideas? I think that would be my go-to.
Well,
Another question
again, I'm going to
the
refer
members.
to my great age. Having lived as long as I have and worked in international construction all over the world, you meet a lot of people that need killing.
If you ever run out, I'm sure we could come up with a list and we could cobble something up together, I'm sure. Could have some of mine.
I mean, I've met a lot of people. I've been very lucky in life, and most people are nice, but there's that 10%, you know, the world's not going to miss them. But as I'm not a violent person, unless it was on the rugby or hockey field, I can find myself to doing it on the printed page, which is very cathartic.
Do we need to ask the members to keep an eye on me if I go missing?
Oh, I could never kill you. You're too nice. So.
Oh, Donna, if you were a fictional character, how would you want to be killed off?
Oh, yes. If I was a fictional character, I would like to be killed off by being forced to have sex with Destiny's Child until I die of a heart attack. Yeah, it's a personal ambition of mine.
No wonder your wife's got a bloody shotgun. Thanks, Donna.
Thanks, Donna.
People are asking if we can play the song. I've not got a CD player here, so I can't. It didn't occur to me to kind of get it onto my laptop. Yeah. But we nearly got into trouble. We played a song for Gordon Brown's book, Any Day Now, which had been written by somebody he knew. And when I uploaded it to YouTube, there was a copyright thing, but we were able to say, actually, no, we do have permission. And we could show we had permission. So it was fine. But no, we're not playing any more songs.
Well,
not risking the YouTube channel.
I own all the copyrights to my stuff, so.
Which is good. Yeah. But yeah, we didn't want to get into trouble with it at all. But everybody's asking to listen to the song. But keep asking your questions, you might win it.
That's exactly right. And if there's a few good questions, I'll give you some extra prizes. So.
Ooh. I like that. Somebody said Jack and Daisy song was very good. Yeah, it really was. It was beautiful. So Gordon knew Daisy, and they talked about writing a song, and then she used it based on parts of the book. She wrote it. Yeah. And then out of that, they've got a recording deal out of it.
Oh, lovely. That's a lovely thing.
Working all round. Somebody said promises to your offer of more prizes, I think.
Oh, well, I'm a man of my word. Just get good questions in there. So.
Somebody has asked, how would you kill a character in the best way? Depends what kind of thing people think of as the best way, I suppose.
Yeah, I think it's got to be situation and character appropriate. I mean, I think particularly bad people, I like to leave to Mar these days. I know Mar doesn't occur in the first book. Because Jimmy's evolving now. He's killing by proxy, because what he's discovered is that people who die because of things he's done, i.e. if he's in the town or he's actually pushed someone into a certain corner and he is the cause of the events that lead to their death, he still gets the song, which is quite handy.
It is really.
Yeah, but as John said, you're still going to have to kill the odd people, because when you do kill someone, the songs are really strong. So for the singles, I think we still need to killing yourself. So, but yeah, that's a good. There is no one way to kill somebody. I just try and find the most realistic manner in the book, and if possible, the funniest way to kill them. And there are plenty of funny ways to die. You've only got to read the Darwin Awards to see that. So.
Yeah, that's there's some interesting stuff there.
Well, it shows that Darwin is correct about the survival of the fittest, mainly mentally fittest. Stupid people die. It's as simple as that.
And here I am. Somebody has asked, the torture character, was that person particularly impossible in life? Would he have a more horrific end for more awful people than you've met in your life?
Well, I find it hard to think that there's a more horrific end than having your digits chopped off one by one, feet and toes, and then your final digit. I think that's pretty horrific. But he was trying to exploit Jimmy and shaft him, having not seen him for 20 years. And he was offered a lot of money, and he could have walked away without having any repercussions. But I thought, well, let's see what happens in the face of unstoppable greed. Where does that get you? Never gets you anywhere good. And he had plenty of chances to walk away. Jack Lantern gave him chances to walk away, and he couldn't get past his blind greed, and he paid a terrible price. And I think it's a bit apocryphal, that. So
I'm really quite glad that Ma isn't based on somebody real.
Oh, she is.
I thought you said Ma wasn't the one that was based on somebody real.
Oh no, I met. I don't think she tortured people to death, but I met somebody who was a gang matriarch, and I'm convinced, as were some of the local police, that she did kill people. Very frightening. I met her in person, one very frightening person. Also very charming. So yeah, I've based her loosely on somebody who was a real person, but obviously it's not her. But I just felt that that's a step that she could have taken quite easily. So
that's terrifying. Laura's asking the group favourite questions. It's always one of my favourite questions to ask. Have you ever acted out a scene to help with the writing process? So we've had loads and loads of really good ones. I dread to think what you're going to say, but we've had somebody who dug up, I believe it was a shoulder of pork. They buried it in the garden in concrete for a year, and then decided to dig it up because they were checking the decomposition process. They'd heard that if something's buried in concrete, it stays intact, and it did until decomposition started as soon as it was broken open.
Yeah. Have you read the book? Was that Laura, was that?
This one wasn't Laura. Oh, no, it was Laura. Yeah, Laura's read the first one.
Right. So I don't know whether to be grateful that you've read it or insulted that you think I could have acted any of that out. Thanks, Laura.
We generally have things like people have tied themselves to a chair and tried to get loose, things like that. We're not talking brutal murder. Keep that to yourself.
I've tried to kill somebody by making them laugh. You know, I could have killed Sammy by telling jokes. You know? I do like making people laugh. I enjoy that more than anything. If I think somebody's read a book and it's made them laugh, one of my books, and it's made them laugh, I think, well, that's a good thing. I want to pull them into the story and love the characters or hate the characters and want to know what's happened. And I want them to have some joy. I always like to have people laugh. You need that. When you're dealing with serial killing, you've got to have levity in there as well. I mean, some of this Scandi Noir is amazingly written, but I just find it so bloody dark. You know, I have to go to bed with a hockey stick, you know, to protect myself.
So we were, just before we went online, we're asking, I was saying, have you got books with you that you've been reading lately? What kind of things do you read?
Well, I'm a big fan of Vaseem Khan and Abir Mukherjee. I was with Vaseem a couple of weeks ago in Lincoln. He came up there to do a talk about the basis of his Malabar House books. And I find those two guys extremely funny on the Red Hot Chili Writers, and their writings are superb. Yeah. And along with that, a friend of theirs who I also love is Imran Mahmood. This is a great book.
I haven't read this one. It's on my list. It's on my never-ending pile.
Absolute stunner. And then this, I can't recommend this highly enough. Truly Darkly Deeply.
Okay.
And she's a lovely,
I've heard really good things about it.
Absolutely fantastic. But I mean, I love. I've been told by a few people that my writing reminds them of Janet Ivanovic, the Stephanie Plum stuff, and I hope it catches on. Like, she sold 100 million books, but that is light-hearted, very funny, but crime thrillers. and Elmore Leonard. So those are two of my heroes. So, but I don't think I write very much like anybody. You have to laugh. I mean, overwhelmingly, the reviews have been fantastic. I've been really lucky. But I had one lady from, I think it was Sunderland, 1 star, hated it, read the first 3 chapters, not my thing. So rather than be offended, I got her email and I sent a little note that says, sorry to hear you didn't like it, but the first 3 chapters were the best. That was what I said. So,
we should mention the publication date for Blood on the Tracks. So it's on pre-order at the moment, yes, and it's out on the 17th of November.
It is. Yes,
and obviously Killing Me Softly is already available. That was released in May. Really? Do we have a date for book 3 yet? She says, knowing it's not quite written yet.
Well, considering I'm 90,000 words into the first draft, I've promised myself I'll be delivering it to White Fox on the in the first week of January. So we're aiming to have it out there in April, because come January I want to start writing my next series. So
the Jimmy Wayne books, it's a trilogy.
It's a trilogy, yeah.
Can you be talked out of that?
Oh, this is the first trilogy. I mean, this is up to the buying public. If the buying public like it, there is actually the outlines for 3 more books and 2 prequels.
2 prequels.
Yeah, 2 prequels. So
that's exciting.
I am so far behind what I can imagine. It's been a tough year this year though, because the last 10 months my wife's had cancer, and she got to ring the bell yesterday. She finished all her treatments, so that was great. And then
love to hear that.
Last year, before she got the cancer, she fell off the side of a building. She was painting somewhere where I hadn't got the safety gear, but Lou knows best, and broke her leg in 2 places very badly. So that kind of disrupted the writing as well. She's just an attention seeker, basically, obviously. But we're hoping now that I said, look, can we just not be ill or break anything for a few months so I can get a couple of books finished? Because I'm a caring chap. And she said, yeah, so great.
Really, really glad to hear that she rang the bell yesterday. That's fantastic.
Yeah, we went
and the comments are now coming in. OMG, that's wonderful. Congrats to your wife for the bell.
Yeah. Well, she's a wonderful lady. That's my beautiful
I've seen a photo of her. She's stunning. Absolutely gorgeous. I saw a picture. It must have been on Twitter or something when I was scrolling.
Yeah. She's a stunner. Yeah. She's an absolute stunner. She used to work in an abattoir. Yeah.
Oh, living with you sounds like it's like living with my husband.
I don't know. I've never lived with him. Is he good looking?
I'd say so, yeah.
Oh, give it a go.
We'll trade. I'll live with your wife for 6 months, and I'll go up the hill and write, and she can aim a shotgun at me.
Does that mean I've got to feed your 4 kids?
Yeah, good luck with that.
That could be a deal breaker. Sorry. I'm sure they're lovely, but I'm old. I can't handle 4 young kids.
They're not young. They're not young. I've not got toddlers.
I don't know. What about 13, 14-ish?
They're all, well, one's about to become a teenager and the eldest is 19 and the 2 17-year-olds in the middle. So,
are they girls, any of them?
Not all. We have a mixture. And that's enough information on my family.
Do you have a teenage girl? I just need to know first before I decide to come and live with your husband.
You just won't be able to feed any of them. They're pickier than me.
Oh, really? I'm a wonderful cook. So.
I'm not.
Right. Okay.
So they probably appreciate you. Somebody has said you're doing amazing and best wishes to your wife going forward, to you both actually. If I don't win, I'll definitely be going to get them because I think you're brilliantly funny and it sounds like the books are a reflection of that. That is a lovely comment. I wish I knew who wrote it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
They really are.
Was that Fred
Your
West?
passion for everything comes out, Behave. Your passion for everything comes out through this book. Music, humour, friendships, relationships of all kinds, the darkness and the dark humour, but the actual darkness as well. The locations that you've created, I'm assuming most of them are created, even if they're loosely based on somewhere.
I've been to Nevada, but I've never been to this town and that. So everything had to come out of the bonds, so to speak. So yeah, it's all the subject of a fevered mind.
That's one way of putting it.
Yeah.
Laura sends congratulations to your wife as well.
Yeah, she's a great
I love
girl.
this group, so supportive,
Yeah.
and that's just amazing that she rang the bell yesterday.
I have to say, I think one of the better decisions of my life, the best one was marrying my wife. Might not have been her best decision, but it's definitely my best decision. But writing crime novels, because the crime community are absolutely lovely. I mean, Vasim has been so nice to me. He doesn't need to be, but it just has been.
It's so
And people
lovely.
like Victoria, they're just lovely, lovely people. There doesn't seem to be anybody in this world with a bit of side on them. You know, it's just really nice bunch of people who like reading about horrible murders. There's an oxymoron for you.
It's the strangest thing, isn't it? When you think about all the people that you meet, all the people that we talk to,
Yeah.
and you think that the crime genre, you know, people might be a bit backbitey or whatever. It's just not. Everything must come out in the books.
Yeah, it's a strange dichotomy, isn't it? You're writing about the most awful thing, which is taking a human life, but the people who are doing it and reading it are just lovely, lovely people. So it's obviously some form of substitution, isn't it? So I'm guessing that Fred West never read a crime novel. That's all I'm saying.
What other than throwing me off for a second with that comment, what have been your, because we've only got 5 minutes left, memorable moments so far since you've started to write again this time? What have you really enjoyed?
I've got to be honest, meeting people like you, because it's a lovely.
It's my favourite thing, meeting all of the authors.
Yeah, it's a lovely, lovely crowd, and I don't know if you've ever written anything. It's lovely when you've sweated blood and tears over something and spent 6 months of your life doing. When people actually write to you and say how much they've enjoyed it, and that's rewarding itself. You know, if you've made one person happy and made them laugh and smile, then it's all worthwhile. Quite like to make 1 million people laugh and smile, but you know, Rome wasn't built in a day. So, but yeah, it's just lovely to communicate, make a contact with another human being, isn't it? I mean, that's what life's all about. It's not about how much money you can put in the bank, although that's nice. What you remember in that last few moments before you flicker off are the friends and the moments you've shared. Life is all about shared experience. And if you haven't had that, you haven't lived.
It's a lovely way of putting it. Donna's written 2 comments. I'm not reading one of them. This has been one of the funniest yet heartwarming hours. I second what Carrie said. Carrie said, I apologise for pronouncing that wrong. If I don't win, I'm getting all the books. Your humour is right up my street. I wish you and your wife all the luck in the world too. You've really won some people over, Guy. It's been really lovely.
It's quite moving actually to hear comments like that, and I really appreciate it. I'm just, this is me. It's what I am. I can't change. I'll tell you a quick story how bad I am at being me. I was working on a major project in Germany many years ago, and they were quite straight, the German people. And I tried to introduce humour to the meeting about building high-rise buildings, which is very tricky to do. And at half time, we were all having a coffee, and the MD of this German company said, "So guys, do you come to Germany often?" I said, no, but my dad used to come every night. And then he realised my dad was in the RAF. But I just can't help myself. That was but you know, the younger ones laughed. So.
Give us a recap of the books, and obviously we won't notify competition winners tonight. You'll be able to have a bit of time to look through the comments, and then we can announce it. But just people are just laughing in the comments.
Sorry about that.
So tell us about Killing Me Softly. Tell us about Blood on the Tracks. What's book 3 going to be called? Right,
book 3 is called All the World's a Stage. My next series is a 5-part crime series based in 1970 Stratford-on-Avon. So I thought I've got to get some Shakespeare references into the Jimmy Wayne. So it's All the World's a Stage, and he's on a world tour but mainly Europe. So he's going to Paris, he's going to Rome, he's going to Holland. But you can imagine he plays the Albert Hall 2 nights in London, and that brings him to the attention of the Tench twins, Ariel and Saul, who are like a posh version of the Cray twins. And also he comes to the attention of Pierre Soubriquet, who is a French gangster, and Luigi Messalama, who's from Brindisi, who runs a big gang out the ports in Brindisi. So poor old Jimmy is touring, and behind the scenes, Jack and Big George are using all the tour instrument cases to smuggle in stolen Nazi artwork back to Europe to private buyers.
So you've gone really light with this book then?
Yeah, it's really light. And Ma's gone across, and she's met up with Eva the Greek, who's a physiotherapist in Paris, but also a hit woman, good at snapping necks. And they go out for a night on the town together in Paris, which fun ensues, obviously.
I can only imagine what on earth you're going to have these two women doing.
Oh, I haven't worked it out yet, but it's not going to be nice. It's going to be funny.
Do you ever talk through some of these ideas with anybody while you're writing?
No. It's just I don't know what they're going to do until I start writing it on things like that. I know there's going to be that scene, but it'll come to me as I'm writing it. So I fear there may be a netball element to it, but we'll see.
Netball?
I fear there may be.
Okay. Based on what I've read, I've got a feeling. Okay, should be interesting. Thank you so much. Thank you for bearing with us when we couldn't get you on last week. We're a week late.
I just thought it was the internet voting with its feet. So,
well, if it has, it's voted to come right back tonight. So there you go.
I've really enjoyed it, Sam, and thank you everybody that's taken the time to tune in. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you to all the members. Thank you so much to you. What a brilliant hour I've had.
Oh, good.
And quite a weird place living in your head while you read the books, but it's well worth a visit.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. Living in my head. Read the books, but don't live in my head.
Thank you very much.
Very crowded space. Cheers, Sam.
Done. We are off.